Have you noticed? Some values in the world have fundamentally changed, and at the top of these is the concept of human life. Millions of people's lives, from birth to death, from a credit application to a security investigation about them, from a possible illness they might catch, are now just data points in a gigantic simulation. And this data is currently one of the most valuable treasures in the world, because whoever can control this data can literally control you too. Oh, come on, I have free will after all. The control of my actions and decisions is in my hands. If you say this video will upset you a little, but it will also open your eyes to a bitter truth. A system named after one of the most mysterious and powerful objects in the famous novel, The Lord of the Rings, is currently being used to analyze everything you do. And I don't say this as a play on words, I mean everything, and is constantly watching you, just like its form in the book. And what's worse, unlike Frodo and Sam, it is now impossible for you to escape from it in real life. Welcome to Find the Truth. It's 1954, and in the Two Towers, a part of the famous The Lord of the Rings series by J.R.R. Tolkien, one of the most successful writers in the literary world, we encounter a highly mysterious object with roots in dark legends. These spheres, called Palantiri, created by the great elven master Feanor, mean far-seeing. This is the first detail I want you to remember. The second detail I want you to remember is this. Although the Palantiri were originally designed for good, they were corrupted by the evil entity Sauron. And these tools created for information turned into a mechanism of deception, fear, and surveillance. Now, I didn't make this video to be a review of the Lord of the Rings books, but as I've told you in dozens of my previous videos, symbols hold a much more important place in human history than we think. This sometimes represents a belief, sometimes a mission, and sometimes an idea, and rest assured that many companies and organizations use this very meticulously. This includes even me. I didn't choose the channel's logo years ago just for it to be a different visual. It also has a meaning. One of the people who gives importance to these kinds of symbols is Peter Thiel, known as the Dark Prince of Silicon Valley. Due to his deep admiration for Tolkien's works, he chose the name of the company as Palantir. And as I just told you, he didn't choose this just to say it. He chose it because it perfectly fulfills his purpose. And probably the foundations of one of the most dangerous systems in the world today are laid. To fully understand the motivation behind Palantir and its dark purpose, we need to take a little trip back in time, to the years when the powers said to rule the world made their biggest transformation. It's September 2001, and as you all know, the world will change completely after an event that will happen this month with the collapse of the Twin Towers. It was after this attack, as I mentioned in my previous Illuminati cards video, that those who control the US began to introduce the laws and systems they wanted into our lives, with the infinite support they received from the American people. And one of these was the Total Information Awareness Project, which, in the name of fighting terrorism, combined all citizens' emails, credit card spending, phone calls, in short, every kind of digital trace into a single gigantic database. Don't think of this as a small country-based project. The CIA, FBI, NSA, American military intelligence, all telecom, bank, airline, health, treasury, and dozens of other critical institutions were transferring all the data they had to this umbrella project. And of course, this is actually a scandal. Are we talking about the absolute surveillance of people? Naturally, thanks to some prosecutors and judges who had not yet been corrupted, the project was presented to the court as a violation of human rights, and the government was asked to terminate this project because it was contrary to the Constitution. Indeed, the project was terminated. However, laws do not restrict private companies as much as they restrict the state. And what a coincidence. In 2003, the moment the court canceled the project, Palantir, founded by the Dark Prince Peter Thiel, whom I just mentioned, emerged. And once again, for some reason, even before the man's office was finished being painted, millions of dollars started flowing into the company from a venture capital firm called In-Q-Tel, which is the investment arm of the CIA. Thus, Palantir suddenly began to grow with state support. The topic will get much darker in a little bit, but I want to give you a little bit of information about the order of the world. The real elites in power do not engage in activities that would expose themselves. For this, they generally use front figures in companies. For example, Larry Fink, the founder of BlackRock. He is a man who has ruined every business he has touched, unreliable on paper, and incompetent. But somehow, he is presented to us as having suddenly founded BlackRock, which has the most advanced systems in the world. And today, that company controls the world's financial and real estate markets. Peter Thiel, the founder of Palantir, is one such person. Let's give him his due. He is an extremely brilliant person who graduated from Stanford University, but he is just a brilliant pawn. Why? You all know PayPal, don't you? It is one of the world's first digital payment and money transfer systems. In the media, the story of PayPal is always told as a handful of young people who, with very little money and hard work, suddenly founded the world's first and largest online payment and money transfer system. What is not told is this: America is the country with the most rigid surveillance and restrictions on monetary matters in this world. And the fact that a system like PayPal, which seems to give freedom to the normal user, a kind of decentralized system, could not be established in that country without the permission of the state, and that the idea could not even be implemented. At that time, people saw it as a method of free payment and money transfer. But in fact, PayPal was an initiative that the state developed to track and flag unregistered online transfers. And again, they put 5 brilliant people in the window. Today, the founders of PayPal are known as the PayPal Mafia in the world. And people like Peter Thiel, the founder of Palantir, Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla and owner of Twitter, Steve Chen, who founded YouTube, and Roelof Botha, who manages one of the world's largest venture capital funds, founded PayPal. And pay attention, these people are still working in key technological sectors and companies in the world. And these companies are at the heart of many data flows in the world. Although Palantir began working to categorize and make sense of the data of America's most critical institutions in its early years, there was a very big problem. The incoming data was so abnormally large that it was impossible for human intelligence to categorize or make sense of it, until a system smarter than humans was designed. We got to know artificial intelligence in a way when it entered our lives with ChatGPT in 2020, a gigantic power presented to us. But have you ever asked yourself this? If such a great power is given to even civilian users like us for only $20 a month, what kind of power does the government have, and for how long, and we don't even know about it? The answer to this is the system called Gotham, which Palantir developed in 2008. When Gotham was first established, it was used to digitize and categorize the massive data coming from between institutions, within the limited possibilities of the technology of that time, and it had begun to take on a workload that humans could not do. However, as the years passed, as the data grew, and as the AI technology we don't know about developed, the situation changed, and Gotham began to become one of the most dangerous digital assets in this world. I want to give a few real-life examples. The NSA's XK score system, which was exposed by Edward Snowden, is a system that records every action you take on the internet. All your digital footprints, such as which site you entered, how long you stayed there, and which sites you looked at afterward, are presented to Gotham. And this dark artificial intelligence turns your digital footprints into a profile and transmits it to Palantir. The Gotham system, which analyzes the data provided by local police and the FBI, calculates your potential to commit a crime by analyzing your criminal history, your potential for crime, your age, your race, and your social circle. And when the time comes, it puts you into the surveillance system and tags you, even if you don't do anything. When this system was leaked to the press in 2018, it caused a big stir in America, but no one cared about the reactions. Even these sound incredible, don't they? But wait, because after 2020, with the age of artificial intelligence, Palantir has reached a whole new level. You know the concept of Big Brother in George Orwell's famous book, 1984? The power that watches everything, hears everything, and controls everything. Well, that now really exists. And now it is probably even smarter than humans. How? Let me explain. Gotham, equipped with a highly advanced artificial intelligence, is not only used to categorize data today, it is also used to make sense of this data and, pay attention here, to make decisions. For example, in the Afghanistan, Iraq, and other Middle East operations, Palantir was used to analyze data from surveillance drones and satellites and combine it with the behavioral patterns of the people being tracked to predict bombs hidden on the side of the road. Since it also analyzes the surroundings of the people who are flagged, it is also used to eliminate potential attackers even before they are taken into the organization. Remember when Trump gave the order to bomb a group of people celebrating a wedding in Yemen? The event there was simply a mass execution as a result of the analysis of, if I assassinate this man, who among his acquaintances will become my enemy in reaction? Apart from these, since Palantir has instant access to and can analyze all digital footprint and intelligence data, you saw it when Israel hit Iran. They were able to send missiles all the way to the bedrooms of the building where the people were living. If you have one of these in your hand, one of these on your arm, or any device containing the chips of these people in your house, it means you have been caught by Palantir. If there are people who think I'm exaggerating, I just want to give this small example. In all Intel chips produced after 2008 and all AMD chips produced after 2013, there is a sub-feature called Management Engine. This small microprocessor is a system that works completely independently of you, and no matter how much firewall protection you install, it monitors and records your network traffic at the hardware level, and then indirectly makes it available to Palantir. Look, this was just the main chip example. I don't even want to talk about wireless communication chips and such. You'll become completely paranoid. This is exactly why countries are currently racing to produce their own chips. But, unfortunately, the US has already taken the lead in this matter. Palantir's power is not only used for intelligence or war today. In fact, it is also on its way to gaining absolute power over the segment it has wanted to control from the very beginning. That is, over us. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that we all have a digital footprint. There may be people who say, what does it matter if they know or don't know the footprint of Uncle Hassan at the coffee shop? But that's not the case. Society is actually a structure that acts in an integrated way in key situations. And those who can direct this structure also rule the world. Palantir can analyze what you do on the internet, your health status, your personal tastes, the music genres you listen to, and even the food you order, and create a profile of you. A power that has this profile of you can show you advertisements according to your tastes and encourage you to buy products that you wouldn't even have thought of. This is still the innocent part of the job. When we enter the dark side of the job, Palantir is an artificial intelligence that can create its own digital twin for operations. This means that the system has such a powerful digital analysis capability that it can create a virtual turkey and place virtual Yus, whose profiles it has analyzed from city to village by copying our exact characteristics. And it starts to experiment with various scenarios. For example, it triggers an economic crisis in digital Turkey and observes the public's reaction, from the very top person to Uncle Hassan in the village. After all, it unfortunately has our data. Then it looks at what would happen if this country were attacked, what would happen if the climate were to deteriorate, and so on. And it tries maybe thousands of possible cross scenarios in digital Turkey. And it finds out how the desired result of the powers and control will be achieved. What's left after that? Of course, they start the operation on real Turkey or Germany or France by making the right moves at the right time. Now, do you understand why I said at the very beginning of the video, don't forget how the Palantiri stones turn into a power of control and fear with the dark will of Sauron? Don't just think about this on a state basis. You are a company, and your competitor has bought an artificial intelligence from the Palantir system. It has created your digital profile and run thousands of scenarios to destroy you. And it has put the successful one into action in real life and sunk you through indirect attacks. And, unfortunately, by using social media, the biggest execution power of our time, without you even knowing it. Remember the PayPal mafia? These people are in control of social media and the financial system. So, now that we know who controls them, do you think that when a smear and lynching campaign against someone starts on Twitter out of nowhere, it is done by this unbalanced person named Elon Musk? Or by the secret states that brought them here from the beginning? From now on, I think you should look at events this way. There may be people who think I'm exaggerating again, because these are really harsh and worrying topics. That's why I want to illustrate it with some real events once more. The Cambridge Analytica scandal that erupted in 2018 is one of the most striking examples of data manipulation in the modern age. The company collected and processed the data of 50 million Facebook users without permission. This data was used to reveal people's political leanings and psychological profiles, and it was put into action in extremely sophisticated advertising campaigns aimed at changing voters' perceptions in the 2016 US elections. In other words, when millions of people went to the polls, they were not actually living the result of their own free choice, but the result of a propaganda process orchestrated by artificial intelligence algorithms. And who do you think processed the data of those 50 million people and put every kind of advertisement and content that would manipulate them in front of them? Palantir. And thanks to this event, Trump was elected president when it was almost completely unexpected. Let's go to some darker examples. Facebook had an unethical experiment in 2014. The company secretly manipulated the posts on the homepages of approximately 689,000 users and succeeded in changing their emotional state. When a group was filtered positive content and shown more negative posts, it was observed that their own shares also became more pessimistic. And when the opposite was done, users made more positive posts. This emotional contagion experiment was living proof that social media algorithms can affect people's mood and, therefore, their way of thinking. When the experiment was leaked to the public, it naturally caused a big reaction, and people started asking these questions. Can the CIA spark a revolution in Sudan by putting pressure on Facebook through this method? If Mark Zuckerberg wanted to interfere in elections, could he do it using the algorithm? Which he did. The answer is clear, but I want to give one more example. In 2019, a researcher named Li Bicheng in China developed a system that could subtly bend public opinion in small doses by using AI to create realistic-looking fake social media profiles. In the first stage, these ghost accounts gained trust by sharing everyday things like real people. In critical moments, they would spread propaganda without being noticed. This means that it is now possible not only to select existing content, but also to create fake content and people from scratch and mix them into the flow of reality. Indeed, today, thanks to advanced artificial intelligence like Palantir and its likes, it is becoming increasingly difficult to distinguish between reality and fiction. Malicious actors can build fake worlds that everyone thinks are real, and artificial intelligence trolls on the X platform, owned by one of the world's biggest manipulators, can be used for dark purposes. In our country too, Twitter is a known troll nest. The funny thing is that there are also people who try to answer these troll accounts, which don't drop the names of certain types from their mouths. If there is anyone among you who does this without realizing it, please don't. The person you are facing is not even a human. You are just swearing at a character and getting upset yourself. So, where will this road lead? What kind of a vice is this? If you ask, the answer to the question is actually simple. It will lead to absolute social control. The moment absolute social control is mentioned, a very dark and destructive system comes to everyone's mind. However, in reality, things don't work that way. Because human nature reacts harshly to such pressure immediately, and chaos ensues. For this reason, those who set up the system, thanks to AIs like Palantir, that can even do emotional analysis, ensure that they direct you without provoking you. Did they see that society is starting to realize something? Boom, an economic crisis. Attention is diverted by creating and serving new agendas instantly with small regional conflicts or political turmoil. Unfortunately, this is the dark side of artificial intelligence. I think artificial intelligence is humanity's greatest hope for salvation. But unfortunately, humans can also use it for their own purposes with a capacity that even the devil would not have thought of. And a control and manipulation system as unbelievable as Palantir, which is supposedly founded by a young person who loves democracy, emerges. If you feel small and powerless in the face of such a gigantic power of manipulation, I think you shouldn't feel that way. Now, I'm not going to come out here and get you excited by shouting, "We will defeat the system, down with Palantir." But you can stay away from this system or get out of it. Instead of getting annoyed by going through trending topics on X every evening, close your account and be done with it. Following the agenda is one thing, and getting lost in fake agendas or agendas presented to you as if there is nothing good left in the world. Getting sick and being filled with hatred is another. You only came to this life once, and the world is changing without waiting for anyone. Is everyone sharing burned forests? You plant a tree and share that. Is everyone sharing starving animals? You go and feed them and share that. Is everyone saying, "We're doomed, we're finished"? You build something, as humanity has been doing for tens of thousands of years, and share that. As I said, life goes on. You won't get anywhere by saying, "Oh, we're dead, we're ruined," and sitting on that couch and wasting your hours on social media accounts full of bots, and your years will be lost. Stop being designed for things you can't handle, and add value to life, big or small, by doing what you can for good. This order of things will not continue like this, my friends. When robotics and artificial intelligence advance and space mining becomes normal, the world will turn into a very different place. In my opinion, humanity is currently living its last days of living with the ambition to control, and we will face the bitter consequences of this. But after that, I truly believe that a new and fairer dawn will rise, and these barbaric ideologies will also disappear. Yes, we have come across a strange age in every way, but life is also full of opportunities, and never forget that the more you enter this system, the more they can reach you. So, don't build your life to consist entirely of a virtual world that someone else manipulates. Real life continues outside, as it has for thousands of years. Enjoy these beauties and the moment you are alive. I didn't make this video to trigger your anxiety. I made it so you could just see a bitter truth and not let them direct you. Because as long as you continue to play this game, as long as you fight with bots on Twitter, as long as you drown in bad news and think that there are no good people and no good events left in the world, those who establish this system will continue to win and control you. So, get out of this vice as much as you can, and just like them, use the blessings of technology and science to draw your own beautiful path. See you next week. Take care of yourselves.